have a think about the biggest investment that you've made in your life. What do you reckon that's going to be? A house, maybe a batch, perhaps even a boat? Well, Kirsten and I think that the biggest investment that you make in your life is actually the investment that you make in yourself. And what we do with ourselves is a big part of resilience and our own well-being. So you've guessed it, today's episode is all about investing in yourself. And so today we'll be sharing some really fun, practical tips that you can take away and start implementing right now, today.
If I asked you a question that was all around, if you look back on the last 24 hours, how much time did you spend looking after other people or doing things for other people? And how much time did you actually spend doing something for yourself? And you know what, I could probably answer that question quite easily for you, even though I hope I'm not able to. So one of the things that I really want to share with you today are 3 practical tips that you can implement immediately to make sure that you actually spotlight you. So the first thing, like anything, before we can set a plan, we need to know where we're heading. So first up, one of the key things I'd like you to do is just spend 15 minutes by yourself, ideally, a place that gives you inspiration, that gives you motivation. For some people that's with music blaring, for others it's just nice quiet in nature, whatever that may look like. Pick an ideal situation that really stands out for you, where you are your best creatively. And then take a moment and actually look at all the different facets of your life and write down what are your key aspirations. What are the areas, the goals that you would like to set yourself for the next 90 days, 6 months, or 12 months? I like to dial it back to 90 days because I find that it makes it really actionable and really meaningful, and you can get that sense of winning really quickly. So the first step is setting down what are those aspirations. A second step around spotlighting you to make sure that you own your space is really making sure, now that you've got clarity on what you want to achieve with that aspiration session, what you want to do now is make sure that in your given working week, in your weekends, or even just in a daily practice, create a deliberate practice that will enable you to actually continually grow, to continually, be in that step where you're leaning forward into something new. So the second practical tip I'd love you to do is identify, what would you like to learn? What is something that you're really eager to actually develop and find? Where are you curious? And then what I'd like you to do is, once you've identified those learning opportunities, is then actually do a little bit of research of how could you actually learn. Is it best that you take down a podcast series? Is it that you align yourself with a subject matter expert or a mentor? Or, is it that you watch online videos like this one? So whatever that may be, what I'd really encourage you to do is spend 15 to 20 minutes every day or 5 days a week, just spending time on your own personal or professional development. And once you actually do that, you think how much time that accumulates. Might not seem much on a daily basis, but it's achievable. And then over time, it's really powerful. And the third one is, let's get context, because so often we're spotlighting everybody else, like we've already spoken about, and we might put in incremental learning opportunities, we may have set our goals, but what we need to do is make sure we actually ground ourselves, reset, and make sure that we can show up as our best selves. And one of the best ways of doing that is grab a calendar for the next 12 months, schedule in all those public holidays, schedule in any key milestones that you want to hit, birthdays and anniversaries and important events that are in your life. And then what I'd love you to do is go through and actually chunk out, where are you going to take some decent holidays, and where are you going to do some resets? So one of my colleagues this week was just saying to me, she was going away with the family for a week. She had planned it at the end of her 90 days. She always takes a week with the family. But what she also does, which I thought was really clever, was she always makes sure at the end of that, she has 2 nights just for her and her husband where they can actually just rest, recover, and recharge. So those are the 3 practical tips that I'd love to share with you today. First off, get clear on your aspiration. Second is diarise regular training bites for your own personal development every single day, like 15 minutes. And the third one, create a calendar where you are very clear on where you can reset, recharge, and claim yourself back.
And I'm going to be taking a snippet of what Kirsten just talked about in terms of our daily practices And we're going to really elevate those for you. And so I'm going to be honing in on what you can be doing on a daily basis. So we've obviously got that learning stuff that Kirsten's just talked about, but there's a story I'd love to share with you because I think it explains the impact of what happens for us when we do something daily quite powerfully. And it's a Simon Sinek story. And he talks about the individual that goes to the gym for half an hour a day or an hour a day on an ongoing basis versus turning up to the gym for that 7 hours in one go. So if we think about doing something in a bulk versus over a continuous period of time, we often get better outcomes when we're doing something on a daily basis, and it becomes our habit and it becomes part of who we are and how we go about our daily life. So my practical tips for you are to take what Kirsten's done and bring it right down, and we're going to build it into your daily habits, into your daily life. And so some things that are great to be able to do on a daily basis, and you'll have lots of things you're probably already doing, so you can load more in if you like, but it's little things, and it's always the little things that can often have the greatest impact for us. And little things like a gratitude journal. These things don't have to take long, and there's plenty of amazing tools out there that you can do. So if you're an online person, you can write down 3 things at the end of your day. If you're a handwritten person, have a notepad by your bed. The last thing you think about are those 3 amazing things that you're grateful for before you fall asleep. And imagine how good your sleep's going to be if that's your last thought and the last thing you've written down. In terms of some other really wonderful daily practices we can put in. So if you have a dog, it's making sure that you're the person that walks the dog, even if it's just around the block, on a daily basis. As Kirsten's alluded to, if you're somebody that loves nature, imagine how good you're going to feel when you're doing that on a daily basis. Another thing you can consider doing is actually picking up and reconnecting with someone. It might be an old friend, or it might be a family member that you haven't had the chance to speak to for a while. And it doesn't have to mean you end up in an hour-long conversation, but just that quick check-in with someone, haven't spoken to you for a while, just wanted to take 5 minutes to say hi. Imagine how good that person's going to feel, but imagine how awesome you're going to feel as well when you have those connection moments, because our resilience is also about how we're connecting with people. So sharing with you today, take those big goals that you've got and break them right down and build some happiness and some joy into your life on a daily basis, but do it your way.
So true, isn't it, Sarah? You know, we are so busy filling our schedules with other things, whereas if we just put in some of those beautiful, nurturing, focus, reset habits and behaviors and make it a deliberate practice every single day, we will show up as our best selves. We will be resilient. We will be able to grab those amazing opportunities when they come our way, rather than thinking, oh my goodness, more overwhelmed. And the last one that I just want to share with you very quickly, and it's a really good one, and Sarah just alluded to it in regard to gratitude. We put so much effort into our morning routines, which are really good, and don't get me wrong, you know, that 45 minutes especially, what are you doing when you first get up in the morning to set yourself up for success? And what Sarah was saying around that gratitude journal is, so a lot of the recent research is all around what do you do the last 30 to 45 minutes before you go to bed, and what is that doing to aid you to sleep but also set you up for the next day. So I really encourage you to take a moment, spend time going through what Sarah and I have just sort of given you some insights and some ideas, and hopefully created some inspiration for you to reclaim part of your day so that you reset and show up as your best self.